Hello, everyone. It's a beautiful Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies of Your View with me. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
How was your weekend?
It was beautiful. So, after the Friday show where Reverend Mother Bimbola came, she gave me the ticket to what she gave me was a car park sticker for VIP, so we could park inside the Tafa Balewa Square. So I got to my parents' place. I went to spend the night there in order for my parents to be able to go to attend this event. But she called and said car park will not get us inside, though, that she will drop VVIP tickets for me. So I sent someone to pick it up. They got 3 VVIP ticket tags. My parents got to sit beside celebrities.
Like the dream come true.
They sat in the front. My mommy came back home and she was praying for me. I thought, God will honor you. You placed me. I was so, I woke up around 5 a.m. and I'm like, she woke me up. We pray as she and my dad attended the event. She said she had never seen Tafawa Balewa that full, and that she was so blessed, that she was so happy. And I want to just one more time thank Reverend Mother Bimbola, because she ensured I got the VVIP. She was like, have you gotten it? I said yes. Are your parents coming? I said yes. And God will honor and bless you, because I really, really felt like I was able to use the little platform, this platform, not little anyway, to give honor to my parents, and they appreciated it. It was really, really nice.
Great story. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. I had a lovely weekend as well. But, you know, something has just come to mind. I had a story. Do we know Steve Harvey? You know, he has a show, so he's, well, I have to ask. So he talked about someone doing a kind deed. And I realized that in Nigeria, I think we're forgetting to do that. Recently, I was driving somewhere and there was traffic, lots of traffic, and everyone was like blaring their horns, you know. And I was able to see from my car ahead that it was a keke napep. And an old man was trying to get off it. He stopped in front of the bank. He was trying to get to the bank. And when he got off they helped him get off the keke, but nobody helped him to get to the bank. No, he didn't have to cross. He was barely walking, like he could barely move, yes. And he was raising his voice like, I need help, somebody help me. Nobody helped. Cars kept moving until my car moved. I kept looking through the back, side window to see if someone helped. Nobody. And then I got down from my car and I helped the man to the bank.
Oh, fantastic.
And, you know, he blessed me and, oh, thank you very much. And everything. I'm like, why do we not... I mean, it's such a little thing. So when young people walking past, you know, and we just forget to show this kind. There was a time I saw a military officer standing under the rain. It was raining. I mean, I'm looking at these people. This is like Boko Haram. They are fighting the one. This person is standing under the rain, full regalia. I had to stop and put the person in my car. Do you understand? I'm just saying,
you need to just
kindness,
do something.
Little kindness.
How are you doing, Nima?
We were arrested this weekend.
You were arrested?
No, she rested.
Oh, I thought you said you were arrested.
How long have you
I rested this weekend.
Happy to hear that.
That's good.
Yeah.
It was just sleep. Oh, I have one more gist. Yesterday there was a party. No, actually 2 parties. There was one that was 80th and the second one was 40th. In the same day, so I went first.
80th? My husband was there, okay.
There were like 3 80th yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm like, people are going 80, and I think it's what celebrating.
And I want to be going to 80th parties, please, because I want to be 80.
No, but because they didn't want to celebrate this 80. They wanted to do something small, and the son was insisting that if mama dies, all of this money you are complaining to spend for the 80th, you will spend it on the burial. Right. Why don't we celebrate while she's alive? And so I think that people that have parents that are that old, take out time to celebrate them, their birthdays, even if it is 81, celebrate.
I slept in the hospital last night.
Where?
My daughter was admitted last night, yesterday. She was being very ill.
Which one, the twins?
One of the twins. So I was in the hospital all weekend, mostly on Saturday. So on Saturday, I was in the house. My cousin came to visit, but Sunday yesterday was just nursing. We were in the hospital. In fact, I slept there this morning. I woke up from the hospital, rushed home to get dressed for the show, and after the show, I'm going right back. It's just it's been crazy. Me a roller coaster since yesterday. But by God's grace and mercy, just believe that everything shall be well. Let's go on a break. It's Monday. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the top stories. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Alaafin to Buhari, arrest Nigeria's slide to anarchy. What is strange is the new wave of criminally minded groups, actually. What's again disappointing is the ease at which the criminals will leave our country should there be anarchy in the land. Falana Balarabe Musa caution against ethnic profiling. Banks freeze interest on 800 billionaire oil marketers' loans. Gunmen kidnap Turkish in Kwara. And Otedola picks up Sadiq Daba's medical bill. Which stories are we taking?
In the nation, I have to actually. There's one where traders are swindling Nigerian pilgrims in Saudi Arabia. So what happens is that our Nigerians, when they go for pilgrimage in Medina,
see that here. Okay.
at the very bottom.
Oh, okay.
You know, I like to look for those stories. So they, what they do is, first, the real to the naira is 1 real is 100 naira, but they exchange it for Nigerians for much higher than that, over 100, 111 for some people. Then what they're supposed to buy for, let's say, 200 naira will be sold to Nigerians for 3,000 and above. A lot of the things that they buy substandard and cheap that they would even get much cheaper in Nigeria, they buy for much more in Saudi Arabia. I'm calling you Saudi Arabia out is not right. I'm calling well the people, the citizens.
Okay,
I mean, people are going there.
Most of the traders are not Saudians. They are mostly
but the government of
Indians,
Saudis are responsible.
and they allow them to trade. But there's this notion around Nigerians that they bring oil money, corrupt money down wherever they go, even in Dubai, and people make profit of it. So Nigerians, we should try and launder our image so people don't...
No, but let's talk about Alaafin for a second. Alaafin was talking about the fact that Nigeria is sliding into anarchy and Buhari needs to... Same thing everybody else is saying,
letter,
go ahead.
And basically...
Oh, it was a letter, that's true.
He wrote a letter to the president last month, but I don't know why he's just making the papers. And it was basically highlighting the issues that we've seen around the Southwest and saying, you know, we have a way of combating issues like that in Nigeria before the government came in. There was the OPC, there was the Agbekoya and all that. And those groups could still be brought back in the form of self-help, yes. So basically, that's what he's saying.
Don't let us resort to self-help.
I would join, as much as I don't think, you know, the letter is good now, because, you know, of course, the politics is tensed. I'll join voices to say, let's start to see action, movements, action. Something should happen around these criminals. And
banks, CBN has asked the banks to freeze all revenue, that's interest rates for all loans to all marketers going forward for now. Moving on now to the Punch, Ruga's controversy. NEC meet on livestock plan. Grazing reserves get to 3.2 billion naira. Why Ajimobi pardoned lawyer jailed for killing her husband, ex-AG. APC backs reps takeover of Edo and Bauchi assemblies. Army quizzes general over stolen 400 million naira. Herdsmen attacks Ogun community pupils, teachers desert schools. Dakolo alleges threat to life, plan to abduct wife. And anarchy looms over siege laid to Yoruba land, Alaafin tells Buhari. Let's start with the human interest, the lawyer that was pardoned. I read that story. Yeah.
The lawyer, we took her story. This happened in 2016. In a quarrel with her husband, where she was alleging, she was arguing with her husband over infidelity. She stabbed her husband and the man died. And she's been reprimanded. She was sentenced to prison. And Ajimobi, in his last days of government, on the last day, actually, 29th of May this year, pardoned herself and 49 others. And this statement is coming out now because people are alleging that there was something fishy about the way it was done. It was done secretly.
They felt that because she was a member of the civil service, she was working for the Ministry of Justice. It's possible that he was being influenced, or that he was being partial.
But I like the quote.
In addition to that,
the quote said that people should stop saying she killed her husband as if it was premeditated, but because found that it wasn't premeditated. Yeah. The amnesty is not a secret one. They do it every year and they do it for 50. She had a fight. Part in the fight was a killing. So it was, she had served half of her term. That's according to what the statement they said, that
and they're saying
she had served half of her term.
According to them also, because from the day she was arrested, they started counting. I didn't know that they do that. That was once they were convicted. Well, from the day of arrest, they counted. So according to that,
the day of remand.
Remand. Actually, okay, that's when they start counting.
They lock you up. From the first day, they lock you up.
No, the courts usually take into cognizance the number of days you spent awaiting trial. Okay.
Let's talk about this livestock, the national livestock transformation. They had a meeting, NEC had a meeting, and they were saying that they're going to now focus, now that Ruga has been suspended, the livestock transformation plan is actually to now work on modalities to ensure only states that are interested in ranches that will offer land for that will then be engaged to have a conversation on that. But it's not about Ruga Self. So there are two totally different things, according to what Nick is saying.
They have a budget in the 2019. They have an allocation of 3.2 billion in the 2019 budget to see to that for the grazing reserve. So they're going to repopulate the grazing reserve. They're going to have a budget for educating young people that want to get involved in farming. Right. There's a plan for all of this, but part of the report from Punch also mentioned the fact that the lack of minister is stalling the process because there's nobody to defend and spearhead this project.
So let's move on to the Daily Sun GOC. That's the General Officer Commanding under house arrest over stolen 400 million naira. He might be moved to Abuja for further questioning. Security, Alaafin petitions Buhari. COZA, police explain invitation of Timi Dakolo and wife. Akwa Ibom Tribunal, INEC Rec instructed me to cancel Akpabio's vote, says witness. Again, Oyegmo Oshomole clash. So
this GOC, you know, we were wondering the amount of monies that was siphoned by the escorts on this report that we took some weeks back.
That they fled with.
So the money is 400 million, and the GOC, the General Officer in Commanding, has been, you know, arrested and kept on house arrest. He might be moved, according to the report, to Abuja for further investigations because a family member of his, a younger brother of his, I didn't want to even say his younger brother, but a brother of his was found to be, you know, among the team, connived with them to siphon this money. And that's as far as his indictment is on this. Nobody has said he is the one, but, you know.
Yes, a family member was part of
COZA.
So, the COZA story, over the weekend, there was an attack. No attack, actually. According to...
Use yours, but carefully.
According to the... according to Timi Dakolo, they were intimidated. Armed men came to his house and intimidated in a show of intimidation. But the IG of police mentioned that no, that wasn't what happened. What took place was a normal, peaceful. We just went to invite the family to come.
It's our hot topic. We'll discuss about it a bit more later. Let's move on to Vanguard. Insecurity, Alaafin writes Buhari blasts security chiefs. Stop appointing indicted people, ASU tells Buhari. Presidency, PDP trade worth over $1 billion excess crude account security funds. Alleged molestation of visually impaired students. Justice must be served, says Aisha Buhari. Stop disgracing APC Edo, Oyegun tells Oshomole. Okay, let's start with...
let me add Aisha Buhari.
Go ahead.
Yes, so the wife of the president and the first lady of the federation has asked that the full weight of the law must, you know, be meted on 2 teachers of this FCT School of the Blind in Jabi. They've been found to be allegedly sexually molesting these visually impaired students. One of them, Mr. Ilo Chukuma, actually lives on the premises, and when they need help from him, he has a way of taking them out of the school into a hotel, and he, you know, he has his way with them. There's also a Mr. Ebenezer Olateju. Thankfully, the permanent secretary, Christian Oha, has asked that they go on an indefinite suspension. Mr. Chukuma has been asked to leave the premises until investigation is done. I'm happy that the wife of the president and first lady has, you know, added her voice to this to make sure that justice...
Fantastic. Is that the story of the ASU? So the ASU, the chairman of the union is from University of Ibadan. His name is Dr. Professor Dele Omole and the zonal coordinator, Ade Adejumo. Both of them were saying that the president cannot be seen to be appointing an indicted person or, into a position. So currently the VC, the president appointed a VC for the university, Kwara State University in Kwara as a vice chancellor. This man has been indicted by the former
So just so that there are no mistakes, Kwara State University, different from the University of Ilorin, the former VC has now been appointed in Abuja as the new VC. So pending his investigation.
That man had been indicted by the former governor's committee, and that there was a white paper that was presented that contained the indictment and the recommended processes to be carried out, and the white paper wasn't implemented. And now the president, who according to them, our president is known for fighting corruption, cannot be seen to be appointing such a person into a position because he's showing a support for him, that the white paper had not been implemented because of political influence this man has. And so now those same political influence has kept him in position.
Right. Moving on to Daily Trust. 2 trillion naira spent since 2000 without resources, ICPC. Buhari rewarding corrupt VCs with appointments, says ASU. Exclude foreigners from retail business, Ghanaian lawmakers insist. Alafin writes Buhari, says Yoruba under siege. Stop fueling crisis in Edo, Oyegun tells Oshoma. An MPC likely to drop interest rate again.
So I have the major headline. The chairman, ICPC Professor Bolaji Owasanoye, has said that since 2000, about 2 trillion naira has been earmarked for constituency projects. And even though we've had so much money put to these projects, you cannot see like a commensurate development at the grassroots. And so they have like they started this thing called like tracking the projects. So they go to these projects, they see if they have been done, and then from that, if you haven't done it, you'll be prosecuted as a contractor. It says that it's already bringing about like a good, positive news because most of the contractors are now going back to make sure that they finish their work. That this is not witch hunt in any way. Right. This is part of their core responsibility, and they must make sure that
we have to move on to last. We can't even take any more. But this day, the story I wanted to mention. Buhari committed to ending insecurity states of Shembajo, and our vice president is actually on the southwest tour, trying to see all the obas within the southwest, all just to reassure them of what the government is doing. And I think the obas are also telling him that listen, the Yoruba can actually reconstitute their militia. If the security operatives in Nigeria is not going to defend this region, they're going to have to. I didn't realize we have a militia, but they say that it's pre-independent.
The bad thing about the militia is when they were stopped from working, we had cultism grow.
Is it the OPC?
So OPC, yes, it was rife. 99 back then when I was in secondary school.
Hopefully.
It was rife.
And we've been calling
stopping them.
Our generalismo to your view. Please accept our invitation. We need to speak to you. Because we heard so many stories about, generalismo, and now the time has come now. Let us talk to him. Anyway, let's go on a break. When we come back, it's Monday. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So still on this Dakolo story, there was another twist to it over the weekend as a singer took to his Instagram page to share a picture of alleged gunmen in a white bus right in front of his house, forcing their way in. According to him, he tagged the caption, "Strange men at my house," which of course signaled a threat to his life and that to his family. Yesterday also, there was a press conference organized by the family to this effect. Now, what are your general thoughts? Have you heard the story? If you haven't, we'll share with you. And you can call us on 070-806-68014. Tweet to us on TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so you can share your views. All right, so this story obviously isn't ending soon because according to Dakolo, the police came armed to deliver a letter. And I think in today's papers, the police did respond. There's the normal procedure of coming to, serve you a letter. So why is this an issue? Did the armed men come down to try to attack him? He didn't say that. They were just armed in their buses. So why is that being misconstrued as an intimidation?
He actually said they tried to intimidate him. According to the reports in the paper this morning, he said his wife was trailed home by the same bus and one of them approached her and said, "My Oga wants to see you." And she insisted, "I don't know your Oga. I am not coming." As she was coming into the building, the gate of their house, the bus blocked the gate. She was only able to come in. For me, that's an intimidation. I think you also mentioned that they're not wearing uniform. So it's not that she saw uniform.
Let us take a clip because I was told that there was a press conference yesterday actually to address this issue. Let us watch this for a second, please.
People that came to our house, nobody comes to drop letter with guns. Nobody comes to drop letter with the tinted glasses, men with guns, trailing a car. You not just come to drop letter. If my wife has insisted at this, first of all, someone said, when they came into the compound, followed my wife into the compound, someone said, "My Oga wants to see you in the bus." She said, "No, I don't know your Oga, who are you?" And they now said they wanted to give us a letter, that the letter was, because I've seen the bus, from where I live, from my upstairs, I can actually see the bus. The bus has been parked on my road for a long time, but it will not cross my mind. It will not cross my mind like, okay, these people are... So for the reason that as she came out from the road and entered the road, tried to enter my gate, the bus followed her and blocked my gate. It's a sign that these people they've been trailing and following her. So it's not that police came to just drop a letter and go away.
All right, so that's from Timi Dakolo. Now, the question is, what's the procedure to drop a letter? Is that normal? I mean, why are we making an issue out of something that could be possibly a normal police procedure?
The IG of police said that it was a normal procedure. It wasn't a warrant of arrest. She wasn't being arrested. It was an invitation, a letter of invitation.
He didn't say it was a normal procedure, just said it was an invitation.
It was an invitation dropped. I feel, what I see is this show of power. Now, we have a culture that sees the military and the police protecting VIPs against the citizens. So I was driving on my road, and this is very similar to something like this. And because I was blocking the path of a VIP, a military official came down with his gun and was telling me, I'll puncture your tire, move away from the road, move away from the road. He was forcing me to another side. I have a cardiac issue. My heart was palpitating at that point. People can die from that. So when you bring a gun, on a case of you want to invite someone and you come with tinted vehicle and you come with ammunition, what exactly are we trying to communicate? So I know that you want to drop a letter of invitation, and I don't understand the legality of who should be inviting the other, because there's a case of Busola was the first person to make a case formal. Yeah. So why are we now why is she the one being invited? Why is there this insinuation of there is power play, and because you are highly connected, you can get anything done?
We've heard to both sides. We've heard Tamtimi's side and the police side. So what are your thoughts?
Yes, I think too is a show of, of power, of force. It definitely smacks of intimidation. I mean, the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, also definitely thinks so, as she tweeted that no intimidation and called the IG of police attention to the matter. Like, no intimidation, no rape. We must see that justice is done. And now this is not about taking sides or whose story should we believe. The thing is that the police must be seen to be doing his job and doing his job fairly. So was the same letter and in the same manner given to the pastor as well? And, there was also where he also mentioned, that's Dakolo, saying that they were actually asking them to get in the bus to go to Abuja for this questioning. I mean, is that the procedure? I have so many questions. I would like for the police to answer that. Okay. After she had filed hers here in Lagos, nothing had been done. The pastor hadn't been called, and he filed his, and immediately you come to their house with guns and asking them to travel all the way to Abuja. Let
me take Joshua's call, then I'll come to you. Joshua, are you there?
Yes. Good morning.
Morning. Go ahead.
And good morning to everybody. I think this is purely an intimidation from the police force. This is really unwarranted. I mean, Timi Dakolo was looking disturbed. They went through a process of reporting this matter. There was a video, and I'm surprised that they actually said they have incidented a report to the police. The pastor in question has not been invited to the knowledge of the public. So why are they harassing the family? What are they there for? Okay. With a tinted vehicle, which letter are they trying to bomb them? Or we have not forgotten what was done to Delegua? So this matter should be trashed out in court. Exactly. Not bringing letter to somebody's house and claiming that you are inviting. Inviting for what?
All right.
What's the invitation about?
Thank you very much, sir.
So this in my years of practice, I have escorted clients to invitation at police headquarters. I've been to Alagbon with a client on an invitation, and I've not seen where it was delivered in this manner. So I don't know if it's the procedure. I do not believe it is. An invitation is something you give. The client came to my firm with the letter. A policeman dropped this at my residence, and there was no drama around it. So I would expect that, because when Busola makes a report, she would have left her house address. So it's not like they're trying to ascertain whether she lives there. She should have left her house address. They'll pick it up. and use it for any correspondence that they need to give to her. So if it is an invitation, it comes in a letter. She
didn't need to be obstructed.
No, they don't need to put a drama around it. They drop it off. But when you need to make an arrest, then you need to come in whatever bus or tinted, whatever way, with arms, if you think maybe the person would resist.
Yeah, maybe they thought he would resist.
An invitation?
Yeah, resist the collection of the letter. So, hey, this is Nigeria now.
So if they thought he would resist the invitation letter, maybe then. But then, if it's an arrest...
With a tinted...
No. Whatever vehicle they use is what they have.
I want us to discuss
what they have is what they will use. But what
I'm just asking.
One officer is enough to make a civil... deliver a civil letter to a... I once had a face-off with a policeman. I was coming and that place was supposed to be a checkpoint. And he stops in front of my car with an AK-47. Stop. And it was only me in the car. Of course, I resisted, and we had a back and forth, and I called...
Let me take this call very quickly before we're going to break. Hello, are you there?
Office
yeah, I'm here.
Case.
Morning, ladies.
Joseph, thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Why is this Dakolo and the pastor's issue becoming so out of place? The Dakolos are the only ones speaking. They are the ones that have laid the complaint. The pastor has not come out to make any official statement. Now the police are in it.
You can't say for certain.
Whatever they say they want to do. It's not right. The pastor should come out. If he says he's a man of God, let him say the side of the story. Let him come out clean or whatever. It's simple. If you know you've done it, apologize. And all these things will come to an end. And if you did not do it, tell the whole world you did not do it and go to court and prove yourself.
I said he didn't do it.
The country did it years ago. He's in the American police jail now. So why all this threat and whatever? Everything in Nigeria is always upside down. The police want to deliver a letter in the fintech class. Somebody came to complain of rape. There's a lot of shady things going on about it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph. I guess the issue here is the issue of intimidation. Yes, we're not saying don't deliver a letter. It's how the letter has been delivered. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll just take a few more calls on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Joining us on the show is our dear lawyer, has abandoned us. I know why he abandoned us. Anyway, he's a lawyer and a public affairs analyst, Liborous Oshoma. Welcome to the show. Let me tell you why you abandoned us. I saw you yesterday. Was it yesterday? I saw you 2 days ago. That day I was just walking on the streets.
On Friday.
Now, wow.
No, that was...
I've not said anything, though. I just said, now, wow.
That was long ago. That was long ago.
Okay, we're just seeing it.
Another one is in the works.
Another one is in the works. Anyways, we wanted you to discuss our next topic. But before we go into the next topic, this issue that happened with Timi Dakolo's family and the fact that people are saying that the police is allegedly intimidating or trying to intimidate them. Do you think it's correct?
Yeah, like Nima has said, there is a procedure for invitation. Every policeman knows this. No police goes to invite you with, truckload of police, gun trotting, except if you know that the person you are going to invite, is somebody who, is possibly armed, so you want to protect the messenger. But usually police invitation is usually served. It's a junior officer. Go and serve this invitation on this person. They get there, even if you don't take the invitation, they have a right to paste it on your door. And then since you have phone, they take pictures of it and say, we have served the person. So the police now wait for you not to honor the invitation. If you don't honor the invitation, they have a right to come arrest you because they have extended the invitation to you. But when you come with a case that is this sensational, it's always good to be very careful so as not to be seen to be biased. Most especially with the negative publicity that Nigerian police is getting daily when issues like these are involved. I've had this situation where, a case of rape, and then the DPO, said, no, at what point did this happen? The girl said in the man's house. He said, no, there's a, So when you have, that kind of mindset, you have to be very, very cautious.
Now, on the show, I think Shudi told us that they actually filed the report already. A police report exists. Now, so obviously, we heard after that happened. Do you think there should have been some communication between them and the police even before this whole media?
Usually when you file a complaint in the police through a petition, you write a petition, it is approved. Once it's approved, you are invited to come, because in your petition, either written by you or your lawyer, there will be your telephone number. So they will extend an invitation to your lawyer to bring you to come make, statement. You go, you make a statement, then they invite, through invitation letter, the other party, the suspect now, to come also, make a statement to counter. They'll give once you get there, they'll give you the petition to go through. You go through the petition, they now ask you to respond to the petition. After responding, if it's a bailable offense, they grant you bail, and then they give you a date for interview. They ask you to come back to confront the petitioner. So a senior officer will interview both parties. And then thereafter, if there's needs for further verification of what was said, they ask you, they give you a further date to come back, that they'll go, conduct invitation.
Liborous, this process doesn't need to be publicized, right? So it could have taken place like this, and we wouldn't be aware of it.
If the Dakolos had been invited to confront the person they accused, that won't be hidden. They would have known, they would have said it in their press briefing that we have been invited for an interview. The police call it interview. We have gone to interview a senior officer, and because you cannot conduct interview without both parties, they must.
Could that be why they were insisting that that Busola gets into the car and goes to Abuja? Could it be for the interview?
No. When you are invited, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, even when you are taking statements, confessional statement in some cases, it must be video recorded. That is the provisions of the law now. And so that the person does not deny it when they get to court. And so if you are extending invitation, you don't force somebody to go into a car and say, we are going to Abuja. That's an arrest. That's not invitation.
Let me even bring the part of go to Abuja now. The report Busola made was made in Lagos. And maybe Fatoyinbo did his own report of false allegation and, malicious whatever in Abuja. Do the police need Busola to leave Lagos to Abuja for them to get her side of the story or a response to that allegation?
You see, yes. If there is a complaint against her in Abuja, you can serve an invitation on her here and say,
for her to voluntarily
please come to Force Headquarters on so-and-so day for us to take your statement because there's an allegation against you. And also, for her own, because what they are alleging is that their complaint had not been attended to. And so, like I said, knowing the sensitive nature of the matter, is either the police should consolidate the two complaints and deal with them at a higher level, or if they want to do it separately, you also give the same treatment that you are giving to the one in Abuja to the one in Lagos, so as not to be seen to be biased.
And you said the sensitive nature. When this story came out, a lot of people said, why did it take her so many years to come out? Why did it take her? Why should we believe her? And the thing is that somehow this process is showing us that maybe this is the reason why people don't speak. Because if we do speak, we may be intimidated. And the police will come and with show of force, and then now we can see why people don't speak out.
It's very unfortunate in Nigeria, and the police also, in most cases, do not help matters. Somebody told me yesterday that the most difficult thing to prove against a rich man in Nigeria is rape. It's a tall order. And then the stigmatization also. And so you find some people just say, I want to let this rest. And for the Dakolos, if you follow the event, they didn't just wake up to say, we want to, levy this allegation. It was event that led to it, like Timi Dakolo releasing tweets of some alleged men of God who hide under the cloak of the pulpit, to break heart of women and, feast on young, innocent girls. And then some members of the church started responding, go check do the DNA for your children. And they ensure that your wife, they start calling her names. So at that point, for a young girl, you feel, I need to, you can't take you can't do this to me and take my voice.
Okay. Let me take this call from Niger State. Morning, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Morning, go ahead, sir.
Please, I think Dakolo is overreacting over this issue. You brought this issue out while you have already reported to police. And now the same police is inviting you. None of us were there when you said the police came over there to intimidate your family. And I don't know that any police officer will just come over there. They want to give letter and ask you immediately you should follow them and go to Abuja. So please, when we are looking at this issue, we are already becoming sentimental over this issue. The other person, the other caller said that the pastor have not made any, have not come out openly to see anything. The matter is with police. So what do you expect him to come and be saying? The society has already judged him before even they hear his own story of the other side of the story. So please, let us not just be taking side with somebody because
if the police did what is accused them of.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benga. How do you respond to that?
What I'm saying is somebody has accused the police of wrongly serving invitation letter. Should we just sweep that accusation and say, no, the police can't do it? That also ought to be investigated. Was this the way you went to serve that letter? If that is the way, is that the normal procedure for inviting?
We expect a report on that separately.
Exactly. Instead of accusing the person of shouting, because in issues like this, if you don't raise your voice, it will be swept away. And so we need also to be careful when we, because when you accuse people of being sentimental, you also are at some point is also being sentimental. The pastor did issue a statement that I have never raped anybody, even as an unbeliever. And then even added a caveat. And that's where that there will be more people. And so for some persons, for some of us who are lawyers, we're like, you are preempting those that will come out. Yeah. So that raised the question mark on the response also. Okay. And so that's where people who are now, drawing conclusions are saying, but I am not saying the man committed that offense here. They are still on the realm of allegation. Okay. But the police also should investigate it in a way that we show transparency and being fair.
And there are many people who legitimately feel that the IG has responded that you were invited and the invitation is legal. Should this invitation also, being that Timi Dakolo and his wife were the first to make their claim, just clarify for us, when they tender that we were raped, Busola was raped by Pastor Fatoyinbo, what should the response be from the police? What should they have done concerning that first on their own petition?
The first thing they ought to have done, once you receive such a petition, if it's approved for investigation, you invite the Pastor Biodun to come hear his own side of the story. You must, or the entire pattern, you must hear the other side.
That could have been done. That could have been done.
Yes, that could have been done without you knowing. And then the next step after that invite.
Shouldn't that be done in Lagos since the case of Busola was reported in Lagos?
That will be done where the file is. If the file is in Lagos, there's an IPO, investigating police officer, who will invite the person involved. Yes, we don't know if he's been invited, but after invitation, the next step would be a senior police, they will invite both parties to interview a senior police officer to confront each other on such allegations.
Let's go on a quick. When we come back, we'll try to round up on this issue. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so in wrapping up this Timi Dakolo story, I know you had...
Yeah, I have one last question. Lots of people are saying that because they're out in the media, this would not work well for their case. What do you think about that?
No, for me, if truly it did happen, they should use their influence in the media to help those who it has happened to but are too afraid to talk, and then also help create awareness for guys and girls also, because this issue now it has raised a lot of questions, and which people are answering, and so it will also help create awareness in the country.
So you can wrap up. Prince Ajibade Isaac says, there's a civil way to deliver a letter. Why are we like this in this country? Why would the police allow itself to be an object of ridicule and intimidation. Nobody is more Nigerian than the other, including the president. Enough of this. Bobby says, rape cases are very sensitive. Why would the police be armed if they just want to deliver a letter?
Ngozi Emmanuel says, the invitation letter reads tomorrow the 23rd. How come they are forcing her yesterday? We didn't see pictures of armed men. What we saw was a tinted bus. And Ibrahim says, I have a feeling that people are beginning to take law into their own hands now, once they feel that they're not getting justice from the constituted authority.
Okay, so unfortunately, we have to wrap up on that. So, Oga Liborous, a lot of things are happening in Nigerian politics. We'll ask you towards the end of the show about what's happening in Edo, because I don't understand. Maybe you talk where you understand, but I don't know what's going on in Edo. We just keep hearing Obaseki, Oyegun, and what's the third person? Oshoma. We have no idea. In fact, we always refuse to read that part of the paper because we don't understand. But maybe later you explain to us. But before we go there, the issue of the ministerial appointments. The Senate has told the president that if he doesn't give them the names by Friday, they're going to go on their summer recess. Now, is it possible for us to get, number one? Number two, why do you think it's taking so long for the president to arrive at the list of his ministers?
You know, now, these days, everything is, everything we do now, we first and foremost want to find, you know, a legal routing for it. We are so legalistic now. Oh, the Constitution didn't say ministers must be appointed at so-and-so time. And so, to that extent, you know, those that are encouraging Mr. President to take his time, you know, because here, you know, we like psychophancy a lot, but they also forget that when you appoint these people early, you know, it is the burden, the load on you. If you look at the Constitution, let's look at Section 14, sub 3 quickly. Say the composition of the government of the Federation or any of his agency and the conduct of his affairs shall be carried out in such a manner as to reflect federal character in Nigeria and the need to promote national unity. I read that first because if you look at Section 147, it refers to that section. It says, there shall be such offices of ministers of the government of the Federation as may be established by the President. Any appointment to the office of ministers of the government of the Federation shall, if the nomination of any person to such office is confirmed by the Senate, be made by the President. Any such appointment under Section 2 of this section by the President shall be in conformity to the provisions of the Section 14, subsection 3, which I read earlier, of the Constitution. Provided that in giving effect to the provision aforesaid, the President shall appoint at least one minister from each state, who shall be an indigene of such state. And so that's all. Okay, so the Constitution did not say when.
But according to the last year, I think, the president was supposed to sign an amendment to this that gives 30 days for him to pick his ministers. But unfortunately, he didn't sign.
Yes.
Why is that? Maybe that's because...
I'm coming to that. And so the refusal to sign from presidency and some persons in the president that, okay, look, there's no need to put the president under pressure to appoint ministers. But I feel that if after serving first term, your second term, even on the day of inauguration, your ministerial list ought to be with the National Assembly awaiting inauguration, so that the National Assembly would also hit the ground running. They would have something to chew on from inauguration and not to be waiting for a list from the president. And here we are still talking about appointment and nomination of ministers. We are even not talking about attaching portfolios. Because if you're coming for an interview in TVC, for example, you say you're coming to be interviewed as a presenter. You know the position you're applying for. Exactly. You don't come, you don't know whether you'll be posted to be a cameraman, a presenter.
A constitutional thing. That before the interview, there should be a portfolio, a potential portfolio.
All these are not matters. You can attach portfolio. You can start the convention. It becomes a practice.
Let's talk about the consequences of the delay. Where, as it is now that we do not have ministers in certain parastatals, some things will give. Let's discuss the consequences of not having ministers for this long, 45 days plus.
You see, the plans and programs of every government, it's driven, or the ideology of the party, it's driven by its ministers at ministerial levels. The PAMSECs and directors are civil servants. it is the plans of the government that they execute. And so that's why, for every government, upon inauguration, even before inauguration, you would have selected people who you believe, share the same ideology with you to man those portfolios. But failure to do that, apart from the fact that they put a burden on you, a heavy burden on you, because you're now overseeing all the portfolios. And then also, there's need for cross-pollination of ideas. You can't know it all. So when you have people who are your eyes and your ears and your legs in those ministries, it helps, move the work faster. But here, we'll look at the money. Oh, the president is refusing to appoint ministers. Or governors will say, we refuse to appoint commissioners because there's no money. We know if we appoint them, we will buy vehicles for them. And so, but also, you're not looking at the job that they're going to deliver on that.
Actually, let me go first. I understand that this is taking quite long, right? And I too am of the opinion that it's really taking too long. What is supposed to be done should be done. But the thing is, I don't understand why the economy would come to a halt because of it. The permanent secretaries, I mean, the civil servants, they've done this over and over. These ministers, they come per term. They come every 4 years. Some of them are able to make another 8 years. Some do not even make it at all. So my own is, why should the economy come to a halt when we have people who already have the experience, the civil servants there anyway, and the permanent secretary has to, have the authority to carry on with the business of the government?
Preparing for this, I realized that the ministers don't sign any check. Every effect, financial effect is domiciled with the permanent secretary. Yet we don't have any payments being done when there is no minister.
You've answered her first question, because the peculiarity of our situation here, it's very unique that, the civil service, unlike those days before the Muritala Mohammed era, I listened to a journalist at some point who said, then civil service could flow seamlessly until that general sack by General Muritala Mohammed. And so for some of them, it was like, before, a civil servant could refuse to take orders from the minister if the orders were illegal. But now everybody will look at the body language of the commissioner or the minister, because nobody wants to be labeled, anti-government. And that's the convention and the practice that we've had over the years in our civil service. And so that's why you find out that when there are no ministers, almost all the activities of government, grind slowly.
Let's come to the issue that I think someone was telling us recently, that the peculiarity of selecting ministers of the Federal Republic is not as easy as it is selecting commissioners, because you have to go across the nation, get from each region.
You have to find
and you have to ensure that they're indigenous, that because the governor is from this region, and the senator is from this region. There's so much that goes into it. Why is that for our democracy? Do we need that? If we really want to push forward, why must we go to this federal character? Must it be adhered to?
Is it holding us back?
Yes, to some extent, it holds back. But, in another perspective, you look at it from another perspective also, it gives, a sense of belonging to some persons. But we hold on much more now to federal character than competence. But then, coming to the area of, being a difficult task, for a first timer, you have a window of 30 days after election. After the election, you've won an election, you have a window of 30 days or more before you're sworn in. That will enable you settle down, look inward. You already have a manifesto as a political party. So who should be the drivers of this process? But let's even assume, okay, we're not even talking about a first timer. We're talking about a second term in office. And you have won a second term in office. And so, one expects that you have worked with so many people. So you won't be looking for those you worked with now, or those you know. The ministerial nominee, the former minister from Attorney General was from Kebbi. He was a CPC governorship candidate of Kebbi State in 2011 election. are we saying that his performance, because the president knew him, was above board, was the best we can get? The sport minister was CPC governorship candidate from Plateau State. If was talking about those the president knows, also his performance, was nothing to write home about. So, even the one from Oyo, the same thing.
Liborous, let me come in, you see, because while I have raised these concerns that we've had ministers that are obviously, to every Nigerian, flawed in the way they implemented their job, and yet remained in power till the end and got a certificate of you did a good job from the president, it looks like they might be coming back. And there's nothing we as citizens can do about it. What can we do? What's the responsibility of the House of Assembly? What's the responsibility of the Senate? How can they push the president to implement something? I feel they are very powerful, but they are also politically balancing everything. What can they do to push the president into implementing policies that would work for Nigeria?
It's unfortunate that the times we are in now, everybody must be seen to agree with the president. And so once you disagree with the government, that means you are an enemy, you don't want the country to work. Everybody should align to help the president fight the war against corruption. And so National Assembly, look at the confirmation sitting of the CGN. Most of us lawyers, it was, below average. But at the end of the day, he was confirmed. And so, if you remember the El-Rufai and Senator Jonathan Zwigina and Ibrahim Matu's crisis, money for clearance so that your nomination can sail through. And so, if that is what we know the National Assembly for, why do you think that ministers will come on board and will not just, some will not have, will take a bow and go. And most especially also when the portfolios are not attached to nomination.
So it's like writing an exam without having a course. Why would you write an exam without having a course of study?
You're coming for an interview, you don't even know what you are being interviewed for. So you might go to education, you might go to health, you might, and so when that is the case, even the man who is interviewing you will ask you generic questions. So you won't be able to go to specific. But the time has come, we see screening in other parts of the world where questions are specific. And to also help Nigerians to understand the workings of such ministry.
Let's talk about corruption within the civil service and how this can affect it. I remember the last time, during the first time of the president, when there was this 6 months delay, corruption had festered so seriously within the civil service that some people were even blaming the Babachiri Lawal issue on, the lack of a minister to oversee what he was able to approve for himself, because, they were already appointed, but there was no minister to, to check any excesses. Within the civil service already, they say when the extent of institutionalized corruption already exists, such that, you know which PAMSEC or whoever, whichever director would assist you to accelerate things. But if you have a minister in place, this would curb it.
You see, remember the case of Adenike Grange, at the end of the day, when they were to retire funds, hey, madam, this is how we do it here. This is your own, paid into her account. That cost her a job. And so that is why, for a president who wants to do things differently, you must first and foremost sit down. What's my ideology? What's the message I want to pass across? So the ministry, the civil servants are there. The civil servants are there. You need people who share in that ideology to be able to carry your message to these various ministries.
I have a call.
But in the absence of that, it's going to be a free-for-all.
Yakub, are you still there?
I'm there. Good morning.
Morning. Go ahead, please.
And good morning, Liborous.
Good morning, Yakub.
Yeah, thank you, sir. You see, Mr. Liborous, some of us that support this government, we begin to be disappointed in kind of the way they run the government. Why? Because some of us campaign to this for this government to become in place, because we believe in Mr. President that is going to fight corruption and then make the economic work for ordinary citizens of this country. Now, we are talking about the minister here. If it is Mr. President can be able to reappoint the state secretary to the government, and then also reappoint the chief of staff to the government, that some of us believe that the chief of staff to the government did not do anything in the first instance. Now, you reappoint those persons. What's up, Mr. President? We voted for you, and then before even inauguration of the Mr. President, it has almost 2 or 3 months. What stops Mr. President to know who is going to work with as a minister? You see, Mr. Liborous, what happened is this. Some of us will believe in this government, and then we believe, Mr. President, we should know that some of us in our locality will also receive anti-punking something from our people here. They are telling us that, look at the president you support. He's trying to reappoint
story of our life.
How do we go to defend him?
All right, so thank you, Yaku, because that's a very valid question. The issue is that a lot of people are still saying, going back to the person, the president, you would think he should understand by now. Last time it took him 6 months. I would expect that he wouldn't want the same to repeat itself.
No, he said he's waiting for, he needs time to appoint those he knows. That the last time he appointed those he didn't.
But shouldn't he have at least had a list before the end of his administration?
You see,
why are you doing like this?
You know, because for me, shouldn't be about those you know, but about competence. You have party leaders, you have governors, you have people who supported you. You can devise a method to screen your ministers inwardly, even before presenting them. All of this can be done after election. Once the dust is settled, you say, you know, gentlemen, there's a great task ahead of us. The country is not where we promise the people that it will be. And so this next 4 years, we should do things differently. Most especially since we are taking people to the next level. And so next level should be a departure completely from the way it was before.
Do you see your president speaking like this?
We're going to break, unfortunately. When we come back, we'll take more. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have the former Commissioner of Information of Oyo State, I believe, Mr. Toye Arologun. Are you on the phone?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
All right. Good morning. I just wanted to correct an impression, you know, and it's very important when we come on air like this. Anybody at a level is a manager. So it doesn't, Liborous, as you are, you can be Minister for Sports, and I'm sure you will do well. Maybe you do better as, you know, Attorney General of the Federation, but then at this level, you would be able to perform well as a Minister.
Not as a sport minister.
We're talking about management. We're talking about management, okay? So whether you're an architect, you can even function well as a Commissioner of Agriculture. The technical people are there in the ministry. Yours is to vision and implement the policy. So yeah, I'm just using that as an example. You know, I'm just hearing it, but I'm just saying that at a particular level, you are a manager. An operations person can become an MD of the company. A finance director can become an MD of the company. A marketing person can become an MD of the company. So it's not until you know your education is before you can function well in the ministry.
Thank you very much, sir, for your views. Mariam had a question on
Yes,
this.
I have a question. July 21st, an article was published, reports in Punch, and it said that the senators were giving the president until 5 days, or else they will go for their recess, which will take about 2 months. And people have called it an ultimatum. People have, you know, named it different things. Is it possible for the Senate to be able to say to the president, we need a list of at a certain period of time? And if it is not an ultimatum, can the president ask them to wait, please, for a bit before you go on for your recess?
For me, I won't call it an ultimatum. It's like an information. We're going for between this time and this time, we won't be around. So if a list will come, it should come now. Because if it comes after, it will be difficult for us to all be around to do the screening because we'll be on vacation. And we also know that sometimes the government can recall the Senate to reconvene for matters of urgent national importance. And so if the Senate does not deem the screening of ministers as matters of national urgent importance, I wonder what will be matters of national urgent importance, most especially
the president send this in batches. Like if he has a batch of 10, and we'll just send that 10 first.
Let me quickly clarify that question. The DSS had cleared a number that the paper had carried, that at least 25 was ready, but 10 were certain to be, could be confirmed to have been cleared, and the president was ready. Could it be done in batches so that we have certain ministries working?
You know also in Nigeria, everything is political. And you won't blame anybody because man is by nature a political animal. And so with the president, probably, I'm just thinking aloud, maybe reading the president's mind, that if they send 10, Nigerians will say, oh, why now? If the 10s are from the northern states only, they say, oh, yes, we said it. You know, how come it is just those people that are from his own extraction? That's, you know, so maybe, but ordinarily I don't see anything wrong with sending them in batches. But maybe also not to unnecessarily overheat the politics, because some people would now begin to insinuate. I know the opposition will look out for everything to discredit you, because it's all about politics and elections.
It's better not to have at all than to have them.
It's better. It depends on the way you manage it. If you want to have the 10, ensure that, you know, they are evenly spread so as not to raise the eyebrows.
Yeah, just me says the leopard cannot change its skin. The Senate should just wait for the next few months.
He says, I agree with Commissioner Arologun Yokola. A minister or commissioner is an administrator. He doesn't need a PhD in that area. A good manager of men and resources would do.
You use the word a good manager of men. If that's the case, then there should be screening. Just nominate them and let them go resume work. So why are we screening them?
From having qualified people.
Have quality people. Let's not just, I didn't want to you know, comment further on it by the former commissioner, somebody I respect so much. But we also need to understand that the essence of screening is to bring out the best in these people. If anybody can manage men, then anybody can be. But the essence is, let's find out, is this person, you know, fit and proper and competent to handle that portfolio?
Fortunately, that's what we can take on the show tomorrow. Thank you very much, Dr. Liborous. We'll bring you back,
no problem.
Obviously, we missed you on this show, and we'll definitely bring you back.
And I miss all of you too. But I see you every day. I see you every day.
I know why you don't miss us. You're busy with making money. Anyway, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.